آل محمد وعجل. الله أكبر. يا علي اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. أحسنت. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا وطبيب نفوسنا وحبيب قلوبنا أبي القاسم محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم. لا سيما بقية الله روحي وأرواح العالمين لمقدمه الفدا. Respected brothers and sisters, السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. تقبل الله صيامكم وقيامكم. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. هو الذي أنزل عليك الكتاب منه آيات محكمات هن أم الكتاب وأخر متشابهات فأما الذين في قلوبهم زيغ فيتبعون ما تشابه منه ابتغاء الفتنة وابتغاء تأويله وما يعلم تأويله إلا الله والراسخون في العلم يقولون آمنا به كل من عند ربنا وما يذكر إلا أولو الألباب. صدق الله العلي العظيم. صلوات. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. To quickly recap, you remember last night I quoted the ayah that I just recited again, the 7th ayah of Surah Al Imran, the third surah of the Quran, in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala categorically divides the ayat of the Quran into two categories. One, the category of the ayat that are muhkamat, that is Ummul Kitab, the foundation of the Quran, the main sources, the main parts of the Quran, which most of the ayat fall into that category anyway. And also there are ayat that are referred to as mutashabihat, meaning that at least initially and at least for some people, the meaning is not that clear. You are a bit in two minds what would be the exact meaning of this ayah. And we spoke about it, and I said that one of the mischief or confusion that mischief makers make is that they go to the mutashabihat, highlight it and quote it, and like as if, because mutashabihat, the ayat that can carry more than one meaning. We have ayah mutashabih in the Quran that Allama Tabatabai rahmatullah alayhi says that this ayah could possibly have over 1 million different meanings. Over 1 million different meanings. Yes? So those who want to cause confusion and mischief, they just pick up one of the meanings, especially based on their own whim and desire, and they try to confuse the community. Or some people, because they want to complete or decorate the thesis. It has happened to me many times. We get sometimes such clients, a brother or sister is writing his thesis, and then they send me an email message, Sheikh Mansour, can you please give me some ayat related to, I'm doing this is my thesis, if you can give me some references to support what I've said. I said, sorry brother, sorry sister, it's supposed to be the other way around. You're supposed to read the Quran, see what the Quran says, and then if you can support it for the sake of wider community with some scientific facts or whatever. Not that you have written your thesis, you want to decorate it with the ayat and riwayat. That would be tafsir bil-ray. This is called interpretation of the Quran based on whim and desire. The question, however, that inshallah tonight I want to answer part of it, as much as again very limited time available to me, is that why is it that we have unclear ayat in the Quran? Isn't it that the purpose of the revelation of the Quran is to communicate to mankind? So if there are ayat that their meanings are not entirely clear, would the message of God be delivered to me through this ambiguous ayat? Wouldn't it be better that if all ayat were muhkamat, completely clear, that no one could play any game with the words of God and cause any confusion? The answer is that yes, but unfortunately this is not the reality. Yes, in the sense of when it comes to the Holy Prophet and the Imams of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, Rasikhuna fil ilm, there is no ambiguity in any part of the Quran. Everything for them is completely clear. If you come across some riwayat that the Imams of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, they say there is no mutashabahat in the Quran, they are talking about themselves. Because for them, there is no ambiguity in any part of the Quran. They completely know the meaning of the Quran. But the reason for ambiguity for you and I are numbers of factors. One, the first one is related to the nature of human language. This is a linguistic discussion without delving into the details of it. If like as I'm standing here and mashallah with the number of brothers and sisters around that are watching me, listening to me kindly, perhaps if we go out after the lecture, whether me or anyone else, the most eloquent speaker comes, stands here and talks. When we go out, often to the number of audience, we have different interpretation and different understanding and different highlights. This part of his talk, I was impressed. The other point, I was absent-minded. Everyone will be interested in different parts of the lecture and comes with different interpretation. This is part of human language. So this is, if for example we could possibly have Bluetooth connection and you could Bluetooth to my brain, I could Bluetooth to your brain, and you download it from my brain, first of all, you don't need to sit here for half an hour or so. In a few seconds, the data will be transmitted, and exactly as it was, it will transmitted to your brain. Unfortunately, we don't have these facilities available to us. This is called telepathy. We don't have this telepathy available to us, yes? So human language, as much as is very advantageous compared with birds, animals, but still there is so much disadvantage. The good news, I tell you, for those who have gone out of this dunya and experienced the life of barzakh, they said, inshallah, bear with me, you and I, we are going to experience this. One, we are in the life of barzakh, there is no more verbal communication. You read my mind, I read your mind. We communicate through transmission of data of our brains. We don't need to involve any verbal communication, and hence there won't be any misunderstanding. Here in this world, as a marriage counselor, I tell you that husband and wife coming from the same ethnic background, both Khoja background, let's say, first cousin, they know the language very well, yet he says, she doesn't understand me. She says, he doesn't understand me. We cannot communicate. We don't understand each other. Baba, right now, both of them alive, cousin, first cousin, the same background, and they don't understand each other. Are you surprised that you open the Quran and you read it after how many years? 1400 years. Context not available to you, the language, metaphor, and everything else. And are you expecting everyone to have the same understanding? Impossible. It doesn't work. So part of it is related to what? To the nature of human language. For example, the ayah that I recited is a very prime good example. In English today, in school, we are all familiar with punctuations. Everybody knows what the punctuations are, yes? Punctuation, when we are speaking to each other, we follow the punctuation with the pause. Like when I pause between two words, it serves as a comma. But in a written language, we put comma, semicolon, quotation mark. All of these are called punctuations, yes? Now, the Holy Quran is a text without punctuation. You don't find any comma, any full stop, any of these things in the Quran, yes? Since less than 100 years ago, some of the Egyptian scholars, obviously with Sunni background, when I say Sunni background, I mean because everybody is influenced by their, their madhab background. With their Sunni background, they decided to come up with some signs that serves like a punctuation for the Quran. Nowadays, all the Qurans, even Qurans that the Khoja community commonly did with the Indian handwriting style, if you check it, go to your Quran today, and I bet you, even Qurans that are published, unfortunately, in Iran, they follow this mistake as well. I will call it a mistake, and I'll tell you why. Ayah number 7, surah number 3, surah Al Imran, ayah number 7. When it comes to the ayah, if you paid attention, that's how I recited it. وَمَا يَعْلَمُ تَأْوِيلَهُ إِلَّا اللَّهُ وَالرَّاسِخُونَ فِي الْعِلْمِ. See, I did not pause. وَمَا يَعْلَمُ تَأْوِيلَهُ إِلَّا اللَّهُ وَالرَّاسِخُونَ فِي الْعِلْمِ. All the copies of the Quran, because they are all sourced from those groups of Egyptians about 8 years ago in Egypt, they come up with these signs. You notice that some of the ayat, there is one word above it, is a jim, meme. You know, these signs are serving like punctuation. When there is a meme, it means waqf lazim, yani it's necessary for you to pause. It's just like a comma, if not full stop even. So almost all versions of Quran available to us following the rule that began from 8 years ago almost up until now, it reads like this. A reader who doesn't have the background of the ayah looks at the sign and says, وَمَا يَعْلَمُ تَأْوِيلَهُ إِلَّا اللَّهُ. Pause. وَالرَّاسِخُونَ فِي الْعِلْمِ يَقُولُونَ آمَنَّا بِهِ. All reciters of the Quran, see, that's how they recite normally, following that punctuation rule. Punctuation serves like this. If there is no punctuation, in English, when we were learning English, we were having this funny example. Let's eat grandma. If you put the comma after eat, yani let's eat grandma. Grandma, you come, let's go eat together. But if there is no comma, let's eat grandma. Yani let's eat. You see, exactly here, وَمَا يَعْلَمُ تَأْوِيلَهُ, I translate it to you, to see that how this new phenomenon that of signs that they come up with has changed the meaning of the ayah. If you put the meme as it is and you pause after Allah, the meaning of the ayah becomes like this: وَمَا يَعْلَمُ تَأْوِيلَهُ إِلَّا اللَّهُ. And none knows the interpretation, yani the true interpretation of the Quran other than Allah. When it comes to the ayat of mutashabih, none other than Allah knows the meaning of ayat mutashabih. وَالرَّاسِخُونَ فِي الْعِلْمِ يَقُولُونَ آمَنَّا بِهِ. But those firmly grounded with knowledge, they say we believe in all of it, even though we don't understand it. Imams of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, we have numbers of riwayat that Ahlul Bayt said, don't read it like this. This is wrong recitation. Read it like this as I've been reading it. وَمَا يَعْلَمُ تَأْوِيلَهُ إِلَّا اللَّهُ وَالرَّاسِخُونَ فِي الْعِلْمِ. Why? Because if at least 200 ayah we have in the Quran that none other than Allah knows the meaning of it, the simple question as an ordinary Muslim I would have, Ya Rasulullah, for God's sake, why did you send them down? Ya Allah, why did you send something that none other than you would know it? Yeah, if you read it like this, وَمَا يَعْلَمُ تَأْوِيلَهُ إِلَّا اللَّهُ, please, with all respect, use your common sense if you see if it makes sense to you or not. مَا يَعْلَمُ تَأْوِيلَهُ إِلَّا اللَّهُ, comma or full stop, it means even the Holy Prophet doesn't know the meaning of it. Allahu Akbar. Because there's no exception. وَمَا يَعْلَمُ تَأْوِيلَهُ إِلَّا اللَّهُ, period. None other than Allah knows the meaning of this mutashabihat. If that would be the case, that even the Holy Prophet doesn't know, he's received something, has no idea what's the meaning of it. For the life of me, this doesn't make sense. And you see that how the Imams of Ahlul Bayt are making a very, very simple sense. وَالرَّاسِخُونَ فِي الْعِلْمِ, yani not everyone, every Muslim would know the meaning of mutashabihat, of course. Those firmly grounded with knowledge of the Quran, to whom the Quran is revealed, starting with the Holy Prophet and the true successors of the Prophet, yes, they know the meaning of mutashabihat as they have explained it to us. Do you see? I'm giving you example to see that how these linguistic issues changes the meaning of ayah from muhkam to mutashabih. So the one reason for ambiguity of some of the ayat are related, like if you and I were living 100 years ago. Let's go a little bit further back. Now that we want to go, let's go 150 years back. Before these Egyptian punctuation signs are introduced to the Quran, no one would read it like this. Okay? And I have many examples in the Quran. I deliberately mentioned this one because I had recited it. So this is one reason for ambiguity of the Quran. Another reason for some of the ayat that are ambiguous to us now after 1400 years, simply because almost all ayat of the Quran, brothers and sisters, there is a context. There is a situation under which these ayat or this surah is revealed. Yes? But now all of the Quran are combined together as a book and you're reading them one after the other. The way that they were revealed definitely is not the way that is compiled today. All Muslims agree on that. Suffices to say that the last surahs of the Quran, the short surah at the end of the Quran, are among the first that are revealed to the Prophet. It's not that, like, for example, one surah that you read from beginning to the end is revealed in the same chronological order. The order of revelation is not the same as the order of compilation of the Quran. This is a fact. No Muslim disagrees on that, yes? But today, if I'm not privy to the context of an ayah of the Quran, I read the ayah and I'm confused about the meaning of it. I give you an example again. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. This is, I'm quoting from Sunni sources. An example of that, the book of Tafsir Sheikh Mansour of Suyuti, one of the very famous Sunni Mufassirin. Quoting from Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, one of the companions of the Holy Prophet. He says that at the time after the ayah in Surah Al-Ma'idah, ayah number 67 was revealed, Ya ayyuhar rasul, balligh ma unzila ilayka min rabbik. This ayah, you and I know that is about Ghadir Khum, an appointment of Amirul Mu'minin, yes? Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, one of the companions of the Prophet, says after the revelation of the ayah, the Prophet had taught us every time you read this ayah, read it between the brackets with the contents. And that's why we were reading it like this. Ya ayyuhar rasul balligh ma unzila ilayka min rabbik fi Ali ibn Abi Talib. وَإِن لَمْ تَفْعَلْ فَمَا بَلَّغْتُ. How the meaning is clear. Because that was exactly the context of the ayah. When the ayah was revealed, thousands of Muslims in front of the Holy Prophet, the ayah is revealed and the Prophet practically raises the hand of Amir al-Mu'minin. You know the story of Ghadir. But today, because just few words, Ali ibn Abi Talib, you remove it from its interpretation of the ayah. It's not the ayah. But at the time of the revelation, God didn't need to say, Ya ayyuhar rasul, balligh ma unzila ilayka fi Ali ibn Abi Talib. Like today when I'm talking about something, you are present here, you know the context of a conversation. Everything is obvious. But once somebody takes it out of the context, especially centuries back, confusion occurs. Am I making any sense? Do you see? So, and from my experience, most of the so-called ambiguous ayat of the Quran, you read Sha'n Nuzul. We call it in Arabic Sha'n Nuzul. Context of the ayat, the meaning is so clear. I was running a course on the issue of the imamat, and one of my students, he was an Egyptian Sunni Sheikh. He was making inquiries about the Shia and said that, can I come to that course? I said, by all means. That's in Australia. We came across this ayah, إِنَّمَا وَلِيُّكُمُ اللَّهُ وَرَسُولُهُ وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا الَّذِينَ يُقِيمُونَ الصَّلَاةَ وَيُؤْتُونَ الزَّكَاةَ وَهُمْ رَاكِعُونَ. Very famous ayah, you're familiar. The time that Amir al-Mu'minin gave the ring while in the state of ruku, yes? I had brought the book of Tafsir Sheikh Mansour, which is a Sunni tafsir. And I read it. I said, baby, look, there are 11 hadiths here he's quoting. 10 out of 11 hadiths under this ayah, that's Sunni Mufassir that he's quoting, all say this ayah is revealed about Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib. None other than Ali ibn Abi Talib. So the context according to all these Sunni narrations is so clear. There's no doubt about it. You know what he said? He said, then how come our ulama, they don't see it? I said, well, my friend, go and ask your ulama. I'm quoting from the book of your ulama. I'm not making of this myself. I'm quoting the book. 11 hadiths he has compiled under this ayah. 10 out of 11 are saying that's about Ali ibn Abi Talib. And this is not from Kafi. So one reason is not being privy to the context of the ayah. Another reason, if you say salawat for as much as I have time, I will share the reasons for you tonight. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Another reason for so-called ambiguity of the ayat of the Quran is that, yes, Arab-speaking people, they read the Quran, إِنَّمَا يَسَّرْنَا الْقُرْآنَ لِلذِّكْرِ فَهَلْ مِن مُدَّكِرٍ. It's easy for an average person reading the Quran. But brothers and sisters, Amirul Mu'minin says Quran is like an ocean. Everyone will benefit from the ocean, but some so scared to step on it. Yeah? When we were at the beaches very early in the morning, that there was no single soul at the beach. I used to go with my family. My wife was always having phobia about the ocean, and she said, don't go closer. Some are scared, but they enjoy the look. Some they step in it, some dive in. So we are talking about an ocean. Everyone will benefit at different levels. Doesn't mean that when Quran says that we made it easy to understand, that the understanding of Imam Ja'far Sadiq is the same as my understanding and anyone else. Yes, there are different levels of understanding. I gave you an example last night. I give you another example. In Arabic language, I'm talking about even literacy in Arabic language is not the same for all Arabs. As in English, not everybody has the same English literacy, yes? In Arabic language, unless you know this technicality, more profound Arabic grammar, you wouldn't know this. In Arabic, when they want to say do good to someone, there are two types of preposition that they use. Again, maybe using some terminologies, I'll explain it. In Arabic, it's correct to say ahsan ila ummek, which means be dutiful towards your mother or towards your father. Arabic grammar says that is correct. Quran never uses this preposition ila. 5 times at least this expression is used in the Quran. Always Quran says وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا, says ba, not ila. Is there any difference? An average Arab says no difference. But those firmly grounded with knowledge, remember راسخون في العلم, they said there is a difference. Imam Ja'far Sadiq alayhi salam says there is a difference. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. وَقَضَى رَبُّكَ أَلَّا تَعْبُدُوا إِلَّا إِيَّاهُ وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. As an example, Surah Al-Isra. Imam says that when ba is used, you know, I'm sure you know that much of Arabic. Bilwalidain, ba is attached to al-walidain. Ela is separate, two separate words, yeah? Subhanallah. This is just in terms of wording, but in the real life also there is a correlation with that. Imam says that once you are using ba, it means that I go directly myself, give a hand to my dad, give a hand to my mom. I can afford to send my maid or my servant to go to my parents' house and help them. I have a driver, I can send a driver to pick my mom, she wants to go shopping. I'm just giving examples. None of my parents are alive, rahmatullah alayhima. As an example, I have a driver sitting at home, you know, nothing. Send my driver to pick my mom. Mom, wherever you want to go, I've got a driver. He will look after you. Quran says no. Bilwalidain ihsana. The virtue, son, the virtue, daughter, is that if you go and you become your mom's driver, you become your mom's maid, you become your dad's driver. This is ihsan bilwalidain. Of course, don't get me wrong, as much as possible. I'm standing here telling you this. For years, I used to say the same in Sydney during the khutbah of Jummah prayer, and I couldn't practice it because I was 18,000 kilometers away from them. Certain people are excused. Distance does not allow them, especially for the ladies. She's married, she has to follow her husband has chosen to live somewhere else. But I said it earlier tonight with some of the sisters, you can pick up the phone and talk to her. 5 minutes. Parents are so easy to be pleased. At least don't abandon your parents from 5 minutes conversation. Communicate. Remember, ihsan bil walidain has millions of examples. Brothers and sisters, since we spoke about this bil walidain ihsana as a grammatical example, let me close the chapter here and open it inshallah some other time. The secret key to your success, my success, each and every one of us, please hear me out. This gray beard have cost me a lot. Learn from my mistakes. I'm sharing them with you so that you don't need to repeat them. I don't want you to get to your 60 and then say, I wish when I was 16 somebody had told me. Please, please remember, you want the success in dunya, you want the success in akhirah, you want the success in both of them. Alzim rajlayha, says Bibi Fatima salamullah alayha. Mind your mother. Be like the slave for your mom, for your dad. A man comes to the Holy Prophet, says, Ya Rasulallah, you name it, any sin you can imagine I've committed. I have had such a filthy back life, life in the past. Is there any repentance for me? The Prophet says, your parents are alive or dead? He says, my mom has passed away, but dad is alive. The Holy Prophet says, go and serve your dad. That is your compensation. Allahu Akbar. Transgress sin between him and God. The messenger of God says, go and serve your dad. God will forgive your sins. Allahu Akbar. And as soon as the guy left, the Prophet says, Lo kanat ummu. I wish his mother was alive. He would be forgiven quicker. Yani serving the mother frees you from your sins quicker than serving your dad even. Anyway, close the chapter. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Another reason for ambiguity of some of the ayat of the Quran has got nothing to do with the Arabic text of the Quran. The meaning is lost in translation, and ask me about it to come with so many examples. I'm privy at least to 10, 12 different famous translations of the Quran. From very early translation like Aberi, Pickthall, Kamshakir, Qarai, Sahih International, you name them. Yes, this is part of my life. Every day refer to them. Some of the causes of confusion in the community are because the meanings are lost in translation. A revered brother came to me once and said, Sheikh Mansour, can you please explain to me why on earth Prophet Sulaiman had to chop the legs and the necks of his horses? I said, says who? It's the Quran. And he brought the translation. I mention this because this is public information. There's no ghiba. He brought an English translation of Shakir, Surah Sad, ayah number 33 from my memory. And I opened the Quran and I see that he is right. The translation. And it's only pocket size, only translation. He's a revert. He doesn't know Arabic at all. He only reads English, yes? So the translation is written like this, that he said, bring them back to me, and he began to slash the legs and the necks of the horses. A slash. What does it mean to slash? To chop it, to chop the legs and to cut the necks of the horses. I said, brother, this translation is wrong. He said, but I checked, Pickthall also says the same. I said, that's even worse. Even all translations say that. Wrong is wrong. Doesn't justify just because that many very good translators, but they're humans. They made a mistake. I said, listen to me carefully. If you have a little bit of Arabic background, I read the ayah in Arabic word for you, and you follow me. Prophet Sulaiman says, Rudduha alayya, imperative, fa'il am. Bring them back to me. Yani bring the horses. Horses were marching before Prophet Sulaiman as a king. So after they passed, Prophet Sulaiman, it's just like, remember, like the commander of an army is standing, all the arbitraries, tanks and everything are marched in front of him. It says, Rudduha alay, bring the horses back to me. Tafiqa in Arabic, af'al al-muqaraba. It means when you begin to do something, when you are just about to start the engine, you say, tafiqa, yani I'm just pressing the button to start the car, yes? فَتَّفِقَ مَسْحًا. The good thing is that this one everybody knows. فَتَّفِقَ مَسْحًا. The controversial word is masah. Brothers and sisters, what do you do when you do on your head, wiping the head? In Arabic you call it masah. Is there anyone who doesn't know this word? Masah. Yes, wiping. So Quran says, فَتَّفِقَ مَسْحًا. He began wiping. This is literal translation. بِالسُّوق. Suq means legs. A'naq means necks. So he began wiping on the legs and the necks of the animal, which is an expression for patting or petting the animal. Petting, not the slashing. Where did you get the slashing from? Do you see now? And a reader reads the English translation of the Quran and is confused and thinks that this ayah is mutashabih. No, this ayah is not mutashabih. It's very clear. Someone with very basic Arabic language will understand the meaning of it. Now you may tell me that how on earth, yani someone who comes to translate, you really, Sheikh, made me very worried tonight. Yani these translators of the Quran, they don't know Arabic. Trust me, sometimes they don't. I promise you no. Translation of the Quran is not enough to say that I know Arabic or even I'm an Arab. There is much more into translation of the Quran. I was running a course for my students and I showed them that translation of the Quran is a very delicate skill. You need to be well versed with the Islamic sciences, not only just Arabic and English. There's so much involved in it. But I believe the reason for these mistakes for the likes of Shakir and Pickthall is because there are some false narrations that they have relied on. Someone has falsely attributed a narration to Imam Ali that subhanallah, this somebody else double checked with Imam Ali alayhi salam, and Imam says that they have lied. I have never said that. Mistakenly quoted or misquoted Imam Ali to have said, "Mas here it means a slash." Why? Who says that? This is accusation to Imam Ma'sum alayhi salam. By the way, I hope I made some senses to you. The reason for ambiguity of the Quran are these and much more. Another example, since because I want from this, my time unfortunately is finished, but as an introduction for tomorrow night's topic. Another mistake that the meaning is lost in translation is about infallibility for Isma. We all use it. Everybody, no, I usually try to avoid it, unless when I'm stuck somewhere that I don't have a better word. Everyone translate Isma to infallibility. And we say 14 infallible, our Imams are infallible. Yes? Wrong. Infallibility is a wrong translation for Isma. The blame goes to the first person who has come up with this wrong word and it's become so commonly used. There are so many examples like this. Why? Because infallibility, infallible in English means, let me use the first part. Fallible means someone who errs. In English they say to err is human. Fallible meaning that someone who is able to err, to make a mistake, like humans, for example, as they say. Infallible negates it, yani unable to sin, unable to commit a mistake, or a thing like that, yes? No, Imams of Ahlul Bayt, the Holy Prophet, the prophets that Muslims, they believe they are ma'asumeen. It's not that they were unable to sin, otherwise what's the virtue? Quran with regards to Prophet Yusuf ala nabiyyina wa alayhi wa sallam says وَهَمَّ بِهَا لَوْلَا أَنْ رَأَى بُرْهَانَ رَبِّهِ. Prophet Yusuf, like every other young man, was full of that desire, that libido and everything. He would have inclined towards her as well. لَوْلَا أَنْ رَأَى بُرْهَانَ رَبِّهِ. Had it not been that he saw what she could not see. So his knowledge, by the grace of God, saved him. It's not that he was unable to sin. This wall is unable to have a lustful look. You go to the bathroom, the tiles of the bathroom don't have a lustful look on it. The tiles of the bathroom are infallible. Angels are infallible, yes? When the angel appeared in front of Sayyidah Maryam salamullahi alaiha, an angel is infallible, has no desire, unable to sin. But humans are not infallible. Such misinterpretation causes this question. I was at a church and the priest one day came to me, Patrick, his name I remember still, and he said to me that, Sheikh Mansour, how come that you Muslims, you Muslims, you say that the prophets are infallible? You know, unfortunately, the accusations they give to the prophets is just shameful to even mention in their book. He said, how can a human be infallible? We are all humans. I said, Patrick, this infallibility is a wrong term. What we mean is that they have reached certain level of knowledge with certainty that although they are able technically speaking, potentially able to sin, but they choose by the divine will not to sin. And I gave him an example. I said that, look, in our narration, tradition says, Al-Khamru Jamrun Nar. Please bear with me. I know that my time is past, but I finish this and inshallah I finish. Riwayat says that Al-Khamru Jamrun Nar. Translation, wine is the fuel of the fire. Not like the fuel of the fire. Wine is the fuel of the fire. Now, those, God forbid, who drink alcohol, and even the most alcoholic person, alcohol drug addict, what do you call it? Alcoholic person who is addictive to alcohol. If you put a burning charcoal in front of him, and you tell him, put it in your mouth, this is alcohol, would he drink? Unless if he's completely intoxicated, that he has no idea what is he doing. Otherwise, no one with a little bit of senses would touch the burning charcoal, yes? And this is the charcoal of dunya. Imam Sadiq says, Al-Khamru Jamrun Nar. We are talking about the fuel of the hellfire. So, if someone has that knowledge, he becomes ma'soom. Either blind faith, you and I, we don't see that, but we have faith in the word of Imam Ja'far Sadiq. We have faith in the word of the Quran. Therefore, you and I, inshallah, we are ma'soom also when it comes to drinking alcohol. Yes? So to be ma'soom is not something impossible. The items that we are ma'soom against are different. Otherwise, many of Muslims, inshallah, most practicing Muslims are ma'soom when it comes to drinking alcohol. Unfortunately, when it comes to something that Imam Ja'far Sadiq I mentioned today says that is worse than alcohol, like lying, unfortunately, some of us, we are not ma'soom on that. So I gave you this example so that you can understand. To say that someone is ma'soom is not beyond human intellect. It is possible. We are ma'soom in certain areas, we are ma'soom. So, but you see, the confusion comes because of the wrong translation. We need to come up with a better translation. I usually say that they are divinely protected. The better translation to be fitting the expression of the Quran and the Riwayat is that they are divinely protected against sins, mistakes, and things like that. Inshallah, we'll continue the rest tomorrow. Please, wherever that you are, turn the compass of your heart towards Medina. Tonight, I want to plead to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in honor of Abiha, A'imma, the mother of all the Imams of Ahlul Bayt. That even Imam Ja'far Sadiq alayhi salam, when he says we are in dire need of something, we plead to the Almighty God in honor of our mother Fatima Zahra. Be conscious of your needs, especially, if I may request, remember our displaced and oppressed brothers and sisters, children, ladies in Palestine, in Gaza, and in those places, inshallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in honor of Bibi Fatima Zahra, gives them, inshallah, a relief and a success against all these obsessors. And we recite together this part of Dua Tawassul. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad, Ya Fatima Zahra, Ya bint Muhammad, يا قرة عين الرسول يا سيدتنا ومولاتنا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيهة عند الله اشفعي لنا عند الله. صلوات.